Welcome to the Businessmen and Women of Color podcast. I am your host, Ann Austin, and it is my pleasure to bring quality programs to all of you. I am excited, especially excited today because we have a guy here who has lots and lots of rhythm, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So please be sure to listen to his podcast and everybody else's podcast that is on this platform. You're not going to want to miss it. There's lots of good information. So take advantage of this unique opportunity because you can't get it anywhere else. Just in case you didn't know, the purpose of this podcast is to share industry information, network our businesses, and also encourage working professionals to enter their line of work. We also want to take a moment to thank our corporate sponsors, which are a family of authors, Butler Armstead Consulting Solutions, Human Resource Learning Center, and J&F Enterprises and Women Offering Wealth, along with many of our other business partners and sponsors who's helping to make this event a success. So, part of our podcast is to talk about all the different business industries, but we cannot forget about TV, radio, and entertainment. And so today we have a dynamic speaker who not only is in the music industry, but he also works and produces with an online radio platform, which I think is phenomenal. I had the pleasure to listen to some of the mixed beats and some of the interviews, and I'm really excited to have Byron Lloyd on the podcast today. Byron Lloyd is the producer and owner of Fuego Beats Media Group. He is a radio personality, producer, and he's also an anti-bully advocate. Byron and his best friend Michael Egypt decided to collaborate together and start creating music together. And from this creation in 2009, they worked together to tirelessly change the way music and radio stations were treating indie artists. And so they decided to come up with a radio station platform called Fuego Beats Radio in order to give indie artists and all the genres that are in that realm a chance to get their music heard without the red tape. And so I want to talk to him about that and also about his anti-bullying. So Byron, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, and hello.
Yes, everybody is saying hello back to you. So Byron, tell us about your background, where you're from, and how did you get into music in general?
Okay, so my background, I'm originally from New York. Moved to Virginia some years back. I've taken my New York card away, they say, because I've been gone too long. So I've been in Virginia for some time now. Moved to Northern Virginia, going on 10 years, and pretty much got into music since, I would say I was born. My brother was a DJ. He used to DJ with Leaders of the New School, so I got to meet a lot of people growing up. Actually, basketball was my thing, but music was always there. I was in band when I was younger, and just when I became a senior in high school, it just took me to another level in terms of making the music, getting behind the boards, things like that. And I just really, it became something that was important and vital, and I saw that it brings everybody together, regardless of what religion, regardless of what race you are. It doesn't even matter, but music brings you together. And you'll often see that at any kind of a concert, or if you just play music, people just are drawn together. And it's just like, it silence things, like they say, it kind of soothes a savage beast.
Okay,
You know what I mean? And
right. You don't want to be a roaring beast out there. So let me
no.
ask you a question. What type did you play an instrument, or were you into just
Yes,
singing? What type of instrument did you play? Because I
I
played the
played
bassoon
the.
when I was in Duke Ellington and played the piano. So what did you play?
Oh, okay. I played the bass clarinet. And I started with the saxophone. I wanted to play the drums. My mother was like, "No, we have enough drummers in in the family. You need to pick something else." So I went with the woodwind instruments, and I played that for some years. And then I got on to the digital programming, MPCs and propeller head Reason, Fruity Loops, things like that, back in the early 2000s. And like I said, I just fell in love with doing music and telling a story, through my music. And it's just so engaging with everybody. And it's just, like I said, it united people. That's how me and my wife met. She writes music, and then I produce, so it was great.
Wow.
a lot of artists I saw when I started getting into the music or the business side of it, and then also radio was when I noticed that a lot of artists did not understand. They had talent, but they didn't understand how to move their stuff. And I started doing some street team promotion for a label based in New York, helping my cousin and my brother out. And I worked with a lot of the mainstream radio stations and also A&Rs and things like that. And I noticed that they were saying things like, "Oh, that music is great. That sounds fantastic." So I'm like, "Cool, they're gonna play it." Then they say, "Well, what's their budget?" And I'm like, "Well, these are starving artists, and I'll tell you guys that is the true definition of a musician. They're starving. They don't have money like that."
Exactly.
So when they told me this, I was like, "Huh? How? So they're good, but because their money is not big enough, and their budget's not big enough, you can't play them." I'm not asking for high priority. I'm just saying play it when in rotation. And I was like, I thought something was wrong with that. So that's why I was like, you know what, we got to start something. Let's try to do this on our own and create our own media platform to push our message and great music. And
Right.
don't look at that, like I mentioned, the red tape before.
Right. Now, did you
Not
focus?
mentioning it.
Oh, okay. Now, did you focus on one particular style of music, or did you just like? Oh, I know everybody likes all type of music, but were you
Oh
kind
yeah.
of catering to just one or two types of music?
When I started, I was into like calypso, reggaeton, dance hall, and hip hop. I wasn't too much on R&B, but that's always a part of it in terms of making music. But as far as when I got into the radio, it was every genre because I pretty much enjoy every genre. There's not one that I could say I dislike because I'll find something good in it. And also, when you're a producer, you listen to things differently than the average listener too. So but yeah, I started with the hip hop, the dance hall, Caribbean style music, and things like that.
Okay. And when did you decide to make the transition over to radio?
2009. So it was about a 9 year, yeah, about 9 year gap between when I just was dealing with mainstream and producing, and then when I got into radio was about 2009. When I decided let's take this on and let's try to take this independent movement by storm.
Okay. So for people listening, especially the young folks that are listening that want to get
Mhm.
into radio, what are some of the things that they have to know first and foremost, particularly if they have a skill in music and they want to take it and partner with a platform as a radio? What do they need to do to kind of get started with that?
So you're basically you're asking if they want to create their own platform or if they want to just
Yeah. Yeah, if let's
okay.
because what I'm hearing is the inspiration of the fact that you were in music for
Yeah.
so long and that you wanted to take it to the next level and do something with radio. And so you actually collaborated, and a lot of young people are doing this on YouTube in some form of way,
Mm-hmm.
some form of fashion.
Uh,
But however, internet radio seems to be
yeah.
the next trend, and I want to give our young people some type of direction.
Now, I'll say this for everybody that I never tell anybody do not use SoundCloud, YouTube, and all the other ones that's out there. What the situation if you're trying to make a name for yourself, I guess you have to think of it like this. When you guys are wearing a white shirt in a crowd of white shirts, how does that distinguish you? You have to be something different. So you might throw on a green shirt or throw some orange in your on your white shirt so you can stick out. With YouTube and all of those, it's kind of like you guys are the same people. Yeah, you can do different things, but you can't. You're pretty much sky's the limit when you create your own. So I'm not saying don't use it. You should use those as well, but you should create a platform where it's your home base, and where I would suggest as well is that some of the times that you go on YouTube, and I've done this, where you're looking up a certain person, just say Fuego Beats, for instance. Well, there's a million people that might call themselves Fuego Beats, so I might stumble upon another Fuego Beats and not you. So now I'm listening to that person, so that kind of knocks you out. But if you gave me your website, fuegobeats.com, it's all about you. So you have to be a little bit selfish in that you want
Wow.
them to know you. And
Right.
then You take that to the, then you say, well, if you want more music from me, go to my YouTube channel, go to my SoundCloud channel, like
Right.
that. But make them go through you first. That's what you want to do. That's all. That's kind of, I put it in perspective of the mall. You know, if I go to the mall to a shoe store, I'm looking for a shoe store, so I might see Foot Locker, Foot Action. But if it's a storefront in the midst of, say, grocery stores, and I see Foot Action, then I know I go to Foot Action. Then Foot Action will tell me we also have a spot in the mall too. You know, rather
Gotcha.
than me pretty much knock out the competition. That's what it is
Right,
by
right.
you creating this platform for yourself.
Okay, now before you started going into radio, did you go take college classes? Did you go take any
On
type of course in order to get into the radio platform, or you just took your music and just went straight there?
oh, I just went straight there. My background is actually in IT. That's where my undergrad and now my master's is in technology. So didn't that help? That does help. I always tell people definitely go into technology because it all comes together. But yeah, my back as far as radio, I have no formal classes or anything like that. I can also say, you know, it inspires and helps with a lot of yeah, I'm sorry, with a lot of self-esteem and actually public speaking. Me, I wasn't the greatest public speaker before, and once I did that, it's kind of you rehearse, but you don't really rehearse, but you have practice on how to speak to the public because you have various people listening to you, so you have to pretty much entertain them and get them, you know, engaged in what you're talking about. So that has helped me with that. So I just pretty much jumped into it. And if you look, if you can listen, and you guys, I would say listen to it. If you go to Blog Talk Radio and under Fuego Beats, my stuff might be still there. You'll see the transition. And I wanted to keep that stuff out there so people could see the progress. Because I wasn't always like, yeah, I can do this, and I'm talkative and all that. No, it took a while. I was very shy with that.
Okay,
Very.
awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of people that shy. I know that sometimes I'm shy. I had to actually work at not being shy, and that's just
Yes.
comes with practice. But basically, what I'm
Yeah.
hearing from you is that you literally had a passion for what you were doing, that you just took it straight there. But I also want to encourage people who want to get into this industry that sometimes you just can't take it straight there, that you have to take
Yeah.
some type of course, but just make sure that you
Yeah.
plan accordingly. So you
Oh
went
yeah.
into
Oh
this
yeah.
thing, you went into this thing, and now it's sort of kicking off, and then there was a time where you saw there was a need for indie artists. And so how did you come across that particular issue in terms of when you thought about coming up with Farrago Beats?
Okay, well, for years since I would say I was about 14. I'm 34 now. I've called myself Fuego Beats because I always said I have the fire beats, and then anybody that doesn't know, Fuego in Spanish is fire. So I always said I have the fire beats, so I'm Fuego Beats. So that was kind of my name, and I'm not good with names, so I just went with what I knew, you know, as far as naming it. But as far as the indie artist, that's kind of why I started. You know what I mean? I really started with indie artists. You know what I mean? I didn't really even play mainstream till recently because I not that, and I can go into that after we discuss why I went into it late. But I just, that was always my thing because those were the ones that were slighted. And when I say indie, I'm not talking about the popular indie artists only. I'm talking about the girl. I have one lady on my show, or young female on my show, and she plays the accordion. I don't know anybody that plays the accordion, but it was that good and it was just unique. I had to have her on, had to play her instrumentals. Because so I get the person in that village that you never heard of, but could play the violin really great. I'll seek out those people versus seeking out somebody that everybody knows, regardless if it's indie or not. Not saying I don't look for that or I don't welcome, you know, other indie artists, but I like finding the person that everybody looks over. That's just me.
Wow, that's fantastic. And that gives people a chance to come out and get some exposure so that people can see that there's a new type of music. Hey, you're along the same lines as me in this podcast.
Yeah.
I love that. I would definitely like to see more indie artists because, like I said at the
Yeah,
beginning of the podcast, is that I was listening to some of your music and some of the stuff that are from the artists that I have not heard from before. I really
yeah,
liked it. I really liked it. I
yeah.
thought it was different and unique, and I loved the fact that it was mixed. So I'm telling everybody with this website, go to SoundCloud.com, okay,
Yep.
and
Yep.
check out Fuego Beats music because I'm telling you, it had me rocking all the way up to 2 o'clock in the morning. I was lit up. I thought I was at the club, y'all, from all the songs that was on there because it was just that good. And so let's talk about the anti-bullying thing. So how
Okay.
does what you do partner with anti-bullying?
Anti-bullying. Okay,
Yeah.
and I won't go too back far, but just throughout life, I wasn't, I can't necessarily, everybody gets bullied at one point in life, you know that. But, and I can't say in high school I got bullied because, I did play sports. I was, I knew the popular crowd and everything, but I never liked the way people were treated. And that goes into the music too. People that may not look like they are a singer or a rap, not looking like what the world says you should look like. I didn't like how they were treated, and I stumbled upon a Facebook post on unbullyfree.org, and I just reached out to them like, hey, can you get on my show to talk about what you guys do? And Bud Collier, the director, he got on and told me, his story of how he got involved. He's a veteran, worked for NASA. His daughter was bullied because she had a like a cleft lip, and she was bullied so bad that she ended up joining a gang and becoming a bully, and ended up being murdered by these gang members. And all of that happened just based off bullying, and that hit me. And I was like, how can I help y'all out? How can my platform speak that word that's going to make everybody kind of draw into you? And we started dealing with each other, and then they asked me to become their East Coast coordinator for, outreach and things like that. And I noticed that, when I help these kids that are bullied in my particular area, I do it through the media, radio and things like that, the arts, I would say. And the radio has been very good to them, and I mentioned myself too, because it gives them that outlet so they don't keep everything in, so they can pretty much project that energy outward, but not in a negative way. We don't want any Columbines or nothing like that. So they're able to take that stress when somebody says something about them and have somewhere to put it, and then also they have a group of individuals who are like them that help them get through those, because that's often people are lonely, and don't have a way to express because they think they might sound, soft. Or, I might sound, some families be like, oh, act like a man, don't act like a little girl, man up to it. And they don't feel comfortable about talking about that stuff. But when you get on the radio, it is what it is. You just say what you feel, and it gets it a load off your chest,
Okay. And
so.
how many people have you been able to help with this affirmation on your radio
I can I can
platform?
tell I can tell you there's no real like amount that I would say counted. Like I don't really ask people, and I maybe should, for like their testaments, but I can tell you there's been groups, Young Entrepreneurs Salute, that's another organization based in New York. There was a group of about seven, eight kids that, they were in the city and feeling the same way, and I feel like, we helped them a lot. There was a young boy in Maryland that we helped out, and as far as this whole thing, I mean, there's a whole lot of, I mean, Boys and Girls Club, 10 to 15 students pretty much I would say every 6 months or so I deal with. So it's been quite a few, because I've been doing this for about 4 years now. So I haven't really, counted single hand, but I mean, it's been quite a few that I
Okay.
know that is sparked there, and helped them out.
Okay. And so what other initiatives are you doing with that and music? Are there any other projects that you are working on that you want people to know about?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely want people to know. I'm not speaking too much of it because we just kind of settled on what we're doing. But I am working with a local, well, he's a director, producer, Mike Ski. Check out Mike Ski TV, by the way. He's done a bunch of videos for independent and mainstream. and we got together with one of my partners, Wesley Carr, who also he's a artist manager, and we decided also I'm sorry with my partner and my partners Prophet and Josiah to do this like a web series, because we're looking at our lives, and we're saying that a lot of us grew up very, poor. We grew up poor, but we didn't grow up like, my life wasn't, menace to society. Like, I wasn't a drug dealer out there like that. I'm not going to profess to be that, but we still went through the struggle. But so we want to do a web series, kind of. It's a little bit of nonfiction and fiction, but we're working on that now. We're hoping to have a pilot, towards the fall, and we're gonna do like a little web series that's we're behind the scenes. I'm not acting in anything. I don't do that, but we're gonna put that out. Yeah, if I
Sure.
act, if you need somebody to kick a door in or be a big guy, I got you. But I'm
Okay.
not doing any dramatics. So, but we're working on that. We haven't really came up with a name or anything, but
Mhm.
the idea is basically we're gonna show everybody kind of not just our struggle, but how we intertwine what we dealt with, and that's from bullying, things in the streets, family life, and also trying to get into the music, because each one of us has a story on how we kind of got into music, and then as adults met up together.
And
So
okay, all right, fantastic. And so everybody who are listening to this podcast, as you can tell, that people are reinventing their profession. Just like you heard from Byron, he went into music and then he's advocating for bullying, and now he's taking it to another level with radio and also with the different initiatives. So it just goes to speak that every time you listen to a podcast, you're going to be hearing over and over again how people are transforming their lives and turning their talent into a mechanism or tool to help someone else. And I want to encourage everybody who's listening to this podcast that to reach out to him, because if you're in the music business and you have a talent and you want to help out with some of the initiatives, his contact information is below. So Byron, okay,
yeah.
so we're at the point of the podcast where this is a networking event. We have people who are listening, we have people who are participating. What do you and Fuego Beats need in order to continue to thrive? And by the way, everybody, he is a business sponsor and he is showing support, so I want to encourage everybody to also sponsor events. So, what do you need?
I need to thrive. I need more artists that are genuine with what they want to do, and they have, even if you don't have direction, you don't know what you want to do. I just don't need stubbornness, and I don't need pigheadedness. Just any artist that is really, really trying to do something with their careers and push the message, positive messages to the, and tell their story to the public. Please, submit your music. You can go to info@fuegobeats.com and just submit your music that way, or directly on the site fuegobeats.com. Also, any listeners, feedback is great. I don't care if you say, "Oh, you're not good," or "You need to work on it," because I whatever you say I need to work on, I will take in consideration and try to work on that to make it better. Other than that, just continue, partners like yourself and everybody, just let's continue to work together and see what we can do for each other. If it's an event, if it's, anything you guys have, just I'm more than welcome, or you're more than welcome to contact me to help out. You can contact me at fuego@fuegobeach.com, and just let me know what you guys are trying to do. I do have other adventures out there with technology, so, if you guys need anything on that realm, definitely get with me. And also my other partners, I have partners in technology, Golem and Hector. You can contact them. Just go to ALSTDT.co, and I will give that to you, Ann, later.
Okay. So
So you
so
can
so
let
what
people
do
know.
they do in IT just so that
What
everybody's
they
clear?
do,
What do they do?
okay, what they do is they do anything. It's big data driven. So they help your organization save money, increase your security through big data. So they also do technology assessments, cybersecurity, and then any programming wise, if you software development, things like that. So that's what that company does there.
Okay, fantastic. Well, everybody, you heard it. He is available for collaboration. His information is at the bottom of this page. I want to remind everybody to please check out all of the podcasts, all of the speakers, and reach out to them, work with them, collaborate, and also patron. That's the most important part because we are a stronger community when we come together to build that patronage for our economic status. So please make sure you reach out to all the artists. And with that, Byron, I want to thank you for being on the podcast today. I am definitely excited. I'm going to listen to some more music on SoundCloud.com at Fuego
Yay.
Beats. And I'm going to tell all my friends about it so we can have a party, because the music is just that good. And I want to encourage everybody who wants to get into the music business to please reach out to Byron or myself if you have any questions about anything. And thank you, Byron, for being on the podcast.
No problem. Thank you for having me.